It's unquestionably a fascinating era. The New World Order has transformed the landscape more than predicted. Who would have thought that post-pandemic, companies are picking up pieces left behind by this devastation current that has brushed the best off their feet? The real desire for optimism has faded away, leaving businesses with doubtful interpretations of the future. The question remains, however, what does the modern-day entrepreneur look like now? My flexes pounds on the idea that the good old-fashioned and the characteristics of a pre-pandemic entrepreneur perhaps is not valid anymore. Further, the impact on the economy by the sheer scale has applied enormous burden on most basic commodity: skilled manpower, workplace dynamics, cost of living, cost of business, housing, spending power, competition, and the way of life at large. But this is just the beginning of an array of challenges I foresee engulfing us in discomfort. Let's get back to the core. So what is the modern-day entrepreneur? With the escalating anxiety of being able to navigate a company through a mammoth pile of market turbulence, the modern-day entrepreneur looks a lot dissimilar today than ever before. We now need one that has a number of additional traits with a futuristic outlook, such as being able to, one, understand micro markets that are heavily influenced by macro variables, then able to undo these variables and construct a theme-based actions the modern-day entrepreneur must share with the team with a view that proactive steps would be taken to cushion the blow subsequently, keeping the company afloat, like managing costs, redefining goals, process efficiencies, to name a few. This is a tough gig, as you are sharing information that is constantly changing. Such industries, and I can mention some, are undergoing downturn pressured by the economic climate, like construction and hospitality, to name a few. 2. This is where the art and science of leadership is applied. The modern-day entrepreneur is required to package the directives using emotional intelligence, applying the basic rhythms of emotional therapy to share the idea of how to prepare a company for its best and for its worst. The level of communication using digital means is the key. 3. One has to have the level of intellectual guidance, where they can gauge the intrinsic and extrinsic consequences of these micro variables without causing too much turbulence while retaining high motivation from within. The modern-day entrepreneur may feel they are walking on glass. Keeping internal and external customers engaged is crucial, but notably, steer the company through these icebergs is not an easy task. 4. The modern-day entrepreneur needs to have a flexible vision without losing the core and circumnavigate through a series of well-defined actions that are measured while maintaining the highest quality and service of the brand. At the same time, being able to engage the team to deliver the vision to the customer. This is where the strategies come to life, and the team must be encouraged to own it. Selling the dream or the ideology is no walk in the park. 5. The modern-day entrepreneur must understand demographics, the market forces that shift people through a series of economical waves such as inflation, cost of living, and upcoming trends and expectations. These changes affect the way consumer behaves. The idea that customers will buy is long dead. With increasing competition and availability of choices, the modern-day entrepreneur must understand the behaviors of these consumers. Those that will carry forward the brand identity must be connected and engaged with. Brand trust is the key, but critically crucial is how to keep them engaged. So here comes a tricky point. With 4 generations at play, how does the modern-day entrepreneur keep up with the demands and the expectations of these generations when it comes down to brand identity, brand trust, and brand presence? We know their perceived behaviors will live amongst confusion and complexities. Combined, we have generational clashes on ideologies of life, how we live, gender equality, tradition, and a plethora of buying choices and habits: what we eat, how we live, what we value, will literally question everything on earth. So let me take you through some synopsis. The baby boomers have their own subtle way to shop, generally through visits to a place of purchase. It's brick and mortar mentality. They like to touch and feel the products. They like human contact, which is essential. On the other hand, the millennials initiated the idea of online sales trends, where they felt the need to utilize technology to manage their demands. However, Generation Z stimulated notion of online sales, forming a multifaceted channels via an overabundance of mediums, going as far as daring the need for a physical place of purchase, even pushing the envelope for electronic cash transfer with tap and go. This itself has changed the world forever. Then comes Generation Alpha, where no conversation is exchanged without a device being present or used. They love their smartphones. The mind is so metaverse inclined that every action of the modern day entrepreneur must be VR designed to capture the growing needs of the Alpha. Point to think about. What's in store for Generation Beta? What strategies do you need to work on to prepare for these new generational thinkers? How will your business cope in the near future? And the most important question to the modern day entrepreneur, are you ready to manage the business in the 21st century? What I've presented so far is just fascinating. So here comes the dilemma the modern day entrepreneur must adopt. Not only are their characteristics being challenged, but the fourth generation thinkers throw chaos in the mix of complexities that surround the modern day entrepreneur. The world has now become a bigger playground, but more connected by digital norms. Given the narratives highlighted, perhaps the modern day entrepreneur must take these steps back and digest these chunks of manifestation. These are the new world order. It's the new digital world. The modern day entrepreneur today is a lot more different from the past. Taking a product or a service to the market requires resourcefulness, consumer trust, and most importantly, market intelligence. The question that I want to ask is, are you ready to tackle the business in the 21st century? So here comes along the science of how one leverages from the new trends using technology wins. It's the digital world. It requires one to be able to push services via mediums of choice. To do just that, the modern day entrepreneur must be out there sharing and narrating the story of the brand, gathering momentum, building true relationships with their followers, and of course, trust. The methodology now is C2B, consumer to business. This bond has to stick, but it won't last unless the business has enough internal capabilities to administer ongoing evolution of this ecosystem. Once again, I ask the question, are your team ready to tackle the 21st century mindset? But on the contrary, the baby boomers are well averse with the market changes and are very aware of the behaviours of the other three generations to some extent. How they perceive each other is yet to be examined fully. But we know that Generation Alpha is new business, and the modern day entrepreneur must tap into the Generation A's means of life, their way of living, and the choices they make. It's a challenging era. The best will become stronger while the weak will dissipate. Are you ready to tackle this phenomenon? Well, to finish off, I just want to say you need to be the change.